No, I'm not going to sit and sing Jess Glynn's pop anthem banger. Sorry to disappoint you all, I know that's what you all came for. As much as I would love to do that, I'm actually going to talk about something which I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I think it's something that will resonate quite a lot with you guys. Hopefully. Like pretty much everyone else that you probably watch on this website, I was going to sit down this morning and film my 2017 New Year's resolutions. Ta-da! Just straight off the top of my head right now, I can think of a list longer than a Lord of the Rings trilogy of life-changing, self-improving, highly responsible and extremely massive promises that I was going to make to you guys and to myself of ways that I was going to change in 2017. I was going to tell you that I would save more money because I'm irresponsible with my spending and I will never own any property if I keep going at the rate that I'm going. I was going to say that I will push myself further and work harder than I ever have before to achieve all of my career goals, because so far I've pretty much failed to hit any of them. And of course I was going to vow to lose about 50 stone because that's just what girls do when it comes to New Year, right? Right? Am I right? But then when I wrote this all down, as I do before I sit and film one of these chatty videos, and I looked at this list in front of me of things that I wanted to change about myself, the alarm bells started ringing somewhat. Suddenly this list of New Year's resolutions that I thought was going to be a really positive and affirming video actually just revealed itself to be one long list of all my most inner insecurities. Basically every part of my life that I feel is insignificant and not good enough compared to everybody else my age, and things that need changing as soon as possible, all written down neatly on one piece of paper. And when you think about it like that, it suddenly becomes a less fun video to talk about with 27,000 people watching. Any of you guys who watch my videos at least semi-regularly will know that I have about 10 life crises a day, if not 10 an hour, on a particularly bleak week. And whenever I have a chat about them, it always seems like you guys are having them too, which is weirdly reassuring. But I've realised recently that the main reason for these breakdowns and all this self-questioning and self-doubt, it's all down to one thing, and that is the pressure that I put on myself. It's kind of hard to figure out where this pressure actually comes from. No one's really expecting anything specific of me, and no one I know is putting this pressure onto me themselves. The fact of the matter is, it's a thing that, for one reason or another, probably down to society itself and the pressures that that encapsulates, all these pressures and expectations are things that I've created and expected of myself in my own head to question every single aspect of where I'm up to and where I'm heading with my life. And then because there's always this pressure in my head, some days it will be very quiet and some days it will be overwhelming, but it's always there, everything I'm questioning becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure and then more disappointment in myself, basically. And when I was writing this big list of massive, massive goals, unrealistic goals in all honesty, when I think about myself in general, I know I won't do any of them. It's all things that don't fit in with my character. It's taken me 26 years to learn this very important fact that when you feel like this, if any of you guys ever feel like this, and when I feel like this, the best thing you can do is just stop and take a step back. And you realise that all of this self-doubt that is manifesting in you and this desire to change various aspects of your life and dramatically improve them all comes from one thing: comparison. Comparison is the worst. If you're anything like me, you compare yourself to your parents, who were married, settled, probably had their first baby on the way, living in a house that they bought with their hard-earned money, probably had 3 bedrooms, and maybe a dog sitting in the lounge. When they were your age, they had that going on. Meanwhile, in my life, you probably compare yourself to your mates who are making a fortune in a very well-paid maths or science job, probably engaged in a very steady, happy relationship where they make lots of homemade soup and go on lovely holidays together every couple of months. Meanwhile, in my life, you probably also compare yourself to everyone that you follow on social media. That blogger who went to Pilates at 5 o'clock in the morning in her £90 leggings before walking her Pomeranian down the King's Road in a pair of Louboutins that were #spawn. Meanwhile, in my life. But here's the thing that I'm finally starting to learn as I gradually grow up, very slowly. You have to remember to take a step back and remember to consciously block out these outside influences that are making you feel that you have to change. Quite obviously, I'm by no means saying delete the internet from your life. I literally live on the internet, and let's be honest, I need the ad revenue. Cheers for watching, guys. I'm just saying that these elements of comparison, the things that you compare yourself to, need to be kept in very separate boxes from your actual own life. It's when you merge the two together, particularly social media, I think, for anyone around my age, that you start to question yourself. Just imagine if you didn't know a single thing about where anyone else is up to in their own life, financially, romantically, weight-wise, appearance-wise, fitness-wise. If you didn't know where anyone else was up to with those things, how much better would you feel about where you're up to in your own life? Probably quite a lot better, let's be honest. If you were a different person and you met you, would you stand opposite them and tell them that they're stuck in a life rut and they don't make enough money and that they should be buying their own property right now instead of bleeding out rent, and that they carry too much weight on their thighs, and that that arm shouldn't jiggle when they wear that top, and that they don't spend their time wisely enough and they should be bettering themselves every single evening after a full day at work? Or would you stand opposite them and would you tell them that they were a really good person and a good laugh and they're doing okay with life and that they have good taste in socks and that they're the type of girl that you would want to hang out with? I've been rambling about this for a very long time now, but here's the message that I want to put across in this video. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, no. Always give yourself credit where credit's due and stop framing your qualities as things that constantly need to be changed and improved. Remember that you have these qualities and they're a part of you and that they're an achievement in themselves, every single one of them. You're funny, you're a great friend to the pals that you care about and that you want to spend time with. You work really hard and you always give everything a good go. You like spending your evenings sitting in ugly fleecy pyjamas watching Bridget Jones on ITV2, and if you do like doing that, you don't have to feel a guilt about spending your evenings doing that rather than working on some kind of outside hobby that might turn into a huge career milestone for you. You have a job, or you're learning and growing as a person. You're earning money and standing on your own 2 feet, or you're working hard to make sure that that is something that you can do one day. And that in itself is so great. You're working hard and you're a good person. And anything more than that is just a big, delicious, shiny cherry on top of things. So you're doing great. And yeah, sometimes things do go wrong and you probably do a bit shit at things and you wonder whether every single brain cell in your entire brain has internally combusted because you've got something so monumentally and massively wrong. Whether that's a career mistake, or you've gone and eaten a full large Domino's pizza, maybe 2 with the cookies afterwards. That's fine. You might have messed up spectacularly, but actually what's happened is that you've learned. It's been a massive lesson, and maybe that means that next time you'll do twice as well when you try and strive and achieve something. So actually maybe that massive mistake is something that should be celebrated instead. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't sit and beat yourself up about it for the next 3 hours. Don't get me wrong, I'm all about dreams and goals. By all means, set yourself goals, strive and achieve them. It's super important for growth and development. I have them myself. I set things out that I want to do and I aim for them. And there's not necessarily anything wrong in shooting for the stars as long as you're very aware of the pressure that that could then lead to. It's the setting yourself unattainable goals or setting yourself attainable goals and then beating yourself up when you don't hit them. That's when the goals and the dreams and the aiming high can turn into something negative, and then you just resent yourself even more for not achieving them and you get further and further away from your goals and you hate yourself more and more. I've kind of lost my train of thought, to be honest. This has been one big long ramble of nonsense, but the moral of this story is you don't need to change and you shouldn't feel obliged to change. Don't feel obliged to change yourself in any way, shape or form. Actually, you're already fab and strong and beautiful and intelligent and doing really well. Always be aware that you can keep growing and improving if you want to, but let that be a decision that you consciously make yourself and not as a result of comparing yourself to anybody else on this entire planet. You know what? It's hard enough to get through every single day without hating yourself. When we live in a society that's telling you that you should hate yourself and want to change every single bit about you, particularly if you are a female. So just remember that these changes aren't obligatory. You don't have to strive for things that will make you fit into the mould better. You should strive for the things that you want to strive for. Remember that you're doing okay. We're all doing okay. And actually, in the grand scheme of things, okay is pretty good right now. And I think that's all I have to say. I don't really know what this was, but I just wanted to say it because I felt like I was writing down resolutions that I should write down instead of things that I actually wanted to write down. I was writing things like going to the gym every day. It's not going to happen. That's not in my personality. It's not in my characteristics. I don't enjoy that. So instead, I'm going to read a book all the time. I'm always going to have a book on the go. That's a change that I want to make rather than a change that I feel obliged to make. And I hope that illustrates it slightly better than the potentially half an hour of rambling that I've just done. If you made it this far, then congratulations. I hope you vaguely enjoyed whatever this was. I don't really know what it was. If you are new here, then please do remember to hit the subscribe button down below. It's the big red one. And if you hit the little bell next to it, then you'll get a notification on your phone or whatever whenever I upload a new video. The deal is these days that we have a weekly vlog on a Monday, beauty chats on a Wednesday, and then Sunday is your typical Lucy Wood nonsense, much like this one. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at LucyJaneWood, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!